Good evening, this is Lindsay. It's Wednesday, July 9th, 2025, and I'm really like I'm in more shock again, startled. Here in Texas, all this flooding that happened in Kerrville about 5 days ago, or during the 4th of July, and it's just all so bizarre. All the timing of when that would happen, the timing of everything, because it personally relates to me in a lot of ways. And I had been having all these visions and dreams for the past couple months that something was going to happen, and something was going to happen to some of the people who I feel wronged me personally, as far as like duped into signing contracts, property deeds, or property relating to that case, that probate case P-23-107 in Kerrville, Kerr County, regarding Baldwin, who I still don't know if he's my biological father or not, which I suspect he could be. I don't know, but anyway, all that disaster, that nightmare of a case where I was clearly exploited and lied to and manipulated and had my inheritance stolen from me. And so, of course, I was angry because the whole fucking court case was a joke and a lie. And it was a setup made to make me look stupid, and that I wasn't, just, I don't want to get into that right now. But I've talked about this a lot in my videos for the past couple of years, as well as other things that have happened to me, all the unfair accusations, my being gang stalked, targeted, exploited, financially, emotionally, psychologically. So whatever, I see it for what it is. I see the way people behave around me, and I see the way people behave around me now. And I see it's like there's something clearly going on, obviously, that I'm not being told about the whole story. I know that, so anyway, back to this whole Kerrville flooding thing. So now, everybody knows this is a nationwide, worldwide news. Hit the news, obviously, this flooding. I have no idea I imagine that the property of Alan, he's watching me. I can feel these people watching me, especially Alan. I know that sounds crazy, but I do so much meditating and praying and whatnot that I know my relatives are looking out for me. My dead relatives are trying to give me answers and help me. What was I gonna say? So, Alan, he lived on, what was the name of that street that he lived on? It was by a golf course, whatever, Kerr County, in Kerrville. I have to look it up right now because I forget exactly sometimes. Whatever the name of that, his property was. Well, gosh, and that's a good question. Okay, anyway, I don't know exactly, but the Alan lived on some acres over there across from the golf course, right off of the Veterans Highway or something. I forget exactly the name of his address. He had a P.O. box, but he lived basically in a floodplain on some property there in Kerrville across from the golf course, and his home was just a modest, cabin that was on stilts, because there was a bad flooding back in 1987. There's also bad flooding around 2004 or something, I remember. At the time I was working at Rice University. I had just gotten fired from Rice University, I remember. And there was that bad flood, and Alan is the one who talked me into driving out of Houston to go towards Kerrville or west, and he met me there to give me gas for my car, and then I went to San Antonio or something, I don't remember. But Alan, there's been bad floods in Kerrville before, but Alan was always the rescue. And ironically enough, that was at the time that I had finished painting that portrait of Abraham Lincoln. Okay, that was like around 2003 or 2004, I think, when all that Katrina or Rita hit, whatever it's called, that hit Houston pretty bad, but it hit New Orleans, or that hurricane that hit New Orleans really bad. I think it was called Katrina, is Rita, whichever one. But Alan was always looking out for me. My uncle, my father, Alan Baldwin. Alan, whether he's my father or my uncle, I think he's like I said, I suspect he could be my biological father. But anyway, so I'm watching more about the news about this Kerrville's flooding stuff, right? And I was just listening to something on ABC News on YouTube, and there's a woman named Lindsay Roberson. Lindsay Roberson is some girl who somehow Carter knew her, and I don't know how he got affiliated with her, but she's like a real estate agent who lives in Austin, or also lives in has a house in Kerrville or something, I guess, or Hunt, I don't know, but she's the one who had, and I've got all those documents somewhere in my emails, like she had sent me some contract to sign about how she had appraised that property at like $3 million or something, and then all of a sudden so there's a bunch of nonsense going on with all that property that they got me to sign some property deed or some, transfer of title thing, all that crap that I did in Kerrville with Melinda Luna, the attorney ad litem, but it was all, they were screwing me out of my money. I mean, I know that I was basically getting scammed out of my share of that inheritance, and like I said, I believe that property was in my name the whole time. There's probably some kind of deed of transfer or something that I know that I was lied to. I know that Alan had a will, and I know that I was probably the one who was in the will and was supposed to get that property. I just know it. I just know it, that I was lied to. I know for a fact. You know when you're right about things. You have intuition. I've got the discernment and the intuition that speaks loud to me every day. But anyway, I think about it all the time. And at some point, like several months ago, I added that Lindsay Roberson, or I started following her on Instagram for whatever reason. Don't know why, but I just decided I would. And I still have emails and documents that I had signed that Lindsay Roberson had sent me to my email. And now I'm watching something on the news, and apparently her son, she's the one who was like clinging to some tree and hanging on to a tree for dear life during all that flooding. And she got injured really badly and was in the hospital. And her son survived also, but she's in the news, and they're interviewing her on ABC News about her experience with the flooding. And I'm like, oh my God, that's that Lindsay. I never met her in person, but I talked to her on the phone several times, and it's like, wow, how strange. What a weird, well, she's alive. But I'm just like, it's just so weird, because I just knew. I mean, I've had for the past several months these feelings that something was going to happen to just people who were involved with this case, or something was going to happen in Kerrville or something. I didn't know what, but I just kind of kept thinking and having these dreams that something was going to happen, something. And it's just really weird how these things happen in my life. I don't quite know how to explain it, but anyway, so she was on the news, Lindsay Roberson. Apparently her daughters also went to Camp Mystic. I had gone to Camp Mystic. I went to Camp Mystic for like, I guess I probably went there at least 3 summers in a row, if not 4, back when I was a child. I went to Heart of the Hills, I went to Camp Mystic. Before all that, I went to Canacomo in St. Louis, Missouri. But then I went to Heart of the Hills when I was like 11 or 10 or 11. Wow, a really young girl. And then I went to Camp Mystic. I think I spent 3 summers in a row at Camp Mystic. And, you know, it was a religious Christian camp. They made you wear all white. You know, we had to wear all white every Sunday. It was very, very kind of like I remember, you know, a lot of my friends or people I knew there, they seemed to all come from pretty good backgrounds of people with money and influence. Some of these people, girls who I know, they all kind of seemed to have money and wealth, I remember. And I was, Peaches and Pops, they paid for that, or Pops did. They really encouraged that. They wanted me to be, you know, they wanted me to, it never happened, but it's like they kind of they really wanted me to go to Texas A&M and be in a sorority and all, you know, a life that I probably could have had if I would have followed a different path, but I didn't. But I think that if I would have stayed in New Mexico and never gone to UT Austin, I know that my life would have been different. I know that things would have been a lot different in my life. I would have had a completely different life, career, and probably have been successful at whatever I was doing. But things didn't happen that way for whatever reason. And it's just funny, weird how things happen in life and people in your life and things that happen and why. And because I'm always trying to analyze and critically think and put pieces together and figure out why. And from what I can remember from going way back, so many things in my life have been like a synchronized, like a like a set. And I know people don't believe that. They think that, oh, you're just crazy and delusional. You're nobody important. You know, why would anybody be targeting you? Or you're just a nobody. And that's what people tell me all the time. Like I'm supposed to be some little shrinking, invisible person who doesn't deserve to have any kind of authority or life or voice of my own. You know, that's what they want. It's like I was supposed to be erased from society because of whoever I am, whoever my real biological parents are, whatever the situation is, how I was conceived, the secrets. It's like I've had to be punished. I have been punished throughout my life and treated very differently. And all the gaslighting, all the psychological abuse, all the trips to so many psychiatrists and diagnoses, and all because I would ask questions and I was confused and I got punished. Each time I'd ask questions of my mother or anybody else, I'd just get ridiculed, mocked, punished, and laughed at, and told I was crazy. And this goes way back that I remember in my childhood. And it's just like, what? And I always knew, something always spoke to me, my intuition telling me that something does not make sense. Like I was always wondering, why am I treated so differently? Why do I not look like these people? Why do I not behave like I'm not, you know, but nobody will tell me. They won't tell me to this day. But I know the truth will manifest because the truth always persevere is the word. The truth always wins in the end. I mean, the truth is always what prevails. And God knows that. God knows this. So do all His people. Yeah, and I wonder what exactly the message is. There's so many mixed signals and mixed emotions, but I hate more than anything being placated and lied to, because I've gone through enough of that kind of narcissistic scrutiny and abuse, and I'm a survivor for sure. And I just what a coincidence how all these things in Kerrville, and then there's more flooding in New Mexico. And then you have to ask yourself, well, does this have, about HARP, that the military has a lot knows how to control weather patterns and manipulate things. There's also something called NOAA, about weather manipulation is nothing new. Weather manipulation is nothing new. But at the same time, what's so weird about that whole thing in Kerrville is that it was so random and nobody was prepared. But why is that? Why now? Right at the timing that I spoke to the Bar Association of Texas to do a grievance complaint about that court case and that hearing and the way I was treated and lied to and signing things under duress and not being told and being, all the humiliation and all the scrutiny I've been under that I've been talking about. It's all so bizarre, the timing, because I got that grievance thing in the mail right before July 4th. Right around July 2nd, I guess, it came in the mail. And then the flooding happened. Then a couple days later, the Kerrville flooding happened. How ironic, I'm complaining about a court case in Kerrville. P23107. Alan, who was in the Alan was in the Coast Guard or the Marines, whatever. My father, my uncle, Alan Baldwin. It's just all so strange, what the fuck? Pardon my language, but weird. What's going on? Is somebody gonna eventually come and tell me the truth? The judge, maybe? The attorneys? Melinda Luna? Pamela King? Judge Kelly Robertson? Lindsay Roberson? All these people know things. Carter Armstead Baldwin. There's things that they know that they don't want me to know. Obviously, Kenny playing Scrabble on her phone in the court. These are visions that I'll never forget. Okay, these things in my mind about what I saw, I'll never erase it from my mind. Everything, because I have this photographic memory of everything about the court, about the hearing, about the courthouse, about everything. I remember, and I just have questions, unanswered questions that I have prayed about, God helping me get the answers to. So, because every day I see things that are really weird. So many odd things happen in my life on a daily basis that it gets overwhelming and exhausting. Physically, mentally exhausting sometimes. That's why I document. I get a lot of stalking. Some people, it's like they all know. It's like they know something, but they don't want to confront me or ask me. But there's definitely things. And once again today, at the gym, I noticed the Alicia, the cleaning woman. She had on that shirt that said It's a pink shirt that said Paris and then Good Times or something like that. I don't know. Oh my God. She definitely wanted me to see that t-shirt that said Paris on it with the Eiffel Tower. Okay, and then when I went into the locker room, I've talked about how I suspected this man got this girl pregnant. This man who, golly, all this drama, that he got this girl pregnant who he worked with, this Victoria. And I think he did. I in my deep heart of hearts, I feel that he did. He's just obviously not he's gonna lie about it but I'm pretty sure There's definitely something that happened between those two. But I know these things because I just know. But this woman, her name is Janet or Janice or Janet. This black woman from Chicago who's in the military. Was in the military, she said, on a dare or something a long time ago. This is she's... Anyway, she I don't see her every day, but she was there today. And, I said hi to her. And she, when I went to the locker room at one point, I was walking in there, I was washing my hands and I could hear her talk. I went into the ladies' locker room bathroom stall and she was talking on her phone and saying, oh, so she's pregnant? She's looking in the mirror, talking on her cell phone to somebody and saying, oh, and she's pregnant? Oh, okay. And then she saw me, but she knew that I was going to be in there. And she was talking really so that I would hear the conversation. Oh, she's pregnant? Well, they're not. So who's pregnant? They all know something. They're all working together. She probably knows this guy, Lou. They know each other, okay? They all know each other. Whoever they're involved with, the Fusion Center, the FBI, the police, the Sheriff's Department, investigators, whatever, they all are talking amongst themselves, and I seem to be somebody who they're targeting for some kind of manipulation, some kind of abuse, coercive abuse, identity theft, inheritance theft, intellectual property theft, insurance fraud, all these things. My name, it's like these people all know me. So there's obviously money involved in my life. I know this. How could I not? How could anybody be that oblivious to not see all the signs everywhere, every day, that I pay close attention to? I'm very observant. I have very good listening skills, and I have a photographic memory, but people are always underestimating my abilities and intelligence to see beyond the fucking facade of manipulative bullshit. And it's been going on for so many years. I mean, I've known this for years and years, that there's something that I believe, once again, goes back, starting with this man, Walter Schutze. Before that even, but that's when it really started to happen. When I met that man, when he encountered me. And he was talking all about, at the time, the Princess Diana accident in Paris with, he was all so interested. He had been an accident investigator, he told me. He was so interested in talking about that car accident with Princess Diana, and he kept blaming it on the Arab. I remember he was like, well, it's the Arab's fault, he would say. I don't... And yeah, I guess she was having an affair. I believe that Princess Diana was having an affair with somebody named Dodi, some Arab man, I believe, some Middle Eastern guy. But Walter knew all about it, and he said he had documents about this, that, and the other, and that one day I was going to be the owner of all the documents that he had. All his papers and documents were going to be mine. This is the stuff he told me. It's like, and then he tried to give me that Marilyn Monroe black and white poster that he had, and I was like, no, it's okay, Walter. I don't want that. He tried to give me that. I didn't take it. I just wonder, who am I? Who is he? Why me? What's going on? Because there's something in various things going on of which I'm not being told the whole truth. And this is what I would like to know.